This is Tom Bain, and this is Wine, Money, and Song. If you find the content of this channel of interest, please subscribe. And if you have like-minded friends who are interested in wine, please tell them about it. And in comments, please let us know what subjects you would like us to cover and if there's wines you want us to react to. Wine and health. There have been many studies over the last few decades about wine's healthful aspects, particularly dealing with heart disease. Now, the studies that have been done have not been overly conclusive, but there seems to be a correlation of the alcohol in wine help preventing heart disease. So let's delve into this. And first of all, if you're going to add alcohol to your diet, please consult with your doctor. Because if you're taking any medications, counter indications may occur with the addition of alcohol with certain medications. So please, always go to your doctor. I remember when I moved from California back to the East Coast, I had to get a new doctor, and I sat down, and you know how doctors are, that they ask you what you eat, what you drink. So they asked if I drank alcohol, and I said, yes, I do. And he says, well, what do you drink? I says, well, I drink wine. And he says, how often? I go, generally every night. And he says, you drink a glass? I says, no. He goes, you drink 2 glasses? I go, I drink a whole bottle. And he went, every night? And I said, yeah, I do. And he goes, how long you been doing that? I go, about 40 years. And he says, well, we got to do something about that. So for about a month or so, I cut down, and I saw no change in anything in my routines, my life. I felt fine. So I went back to the normal. But please talk to your doctor. All right, talk to your doctor. Louis Pasteur once said that wine is the most hygienic and healthful beverage available. And the reason why he said that partially was because back then there was a shortage of really clean drinking water in the world at that time. Since then, there's a lot more clean water to drink, safe water to drink, and there's many competitive beverages to drink. We didn't have Coca-Cola 150 years ago. We didn't have bottled mineral water. We didn't have all the fruit juices bottled. So there's many choices now. But as far as the choice of wine, the alcohol in wine is antibacterial and it's antiseptic. So if there was anything floating around, bacteria, microbes, that would help kill those bacteria, and that's why Pasteur felt that way. Back in 2009, the show 60 Minutes, which was the highest rated show at that time, played a segment called The French Paradox. And what the French Paradox was the diets that they follow in the Mediterranean, and especially in France. It seems that they eat a lot more fat, a lot more dairy, they smoke more, and they exercise less than we do in the West. And we have 50% more heart disease than they do. And they couldn't rationalize the difference in the numbers. They just couldn't rationalize the difference in the numbers. So they started doing tests. And the studies that they ran seemed to indicate that the intake of wine, especially with the high fat content of the French diet, wine seemed to somehow help the arteries stay clear. And it prevented the buildup of plaque in your arteries. Now, many studies and some doctors don't feel that way, and also the French do eat more vegetables than we do, but they smoke a lot more. And all of the studies that are being done, and I will like go through the facts in a minute or two, but the French paradox is there, and drinking of wine seems to be healthful. After this segment played, I was in the marketplace selling wine the next week, and I'm standing in one of my accounts, and these two people, they were probably 60, 65 years of age, and they came up to the manager and they said, I want to drink red wine. I saw on TV that red wine's really good for you. Can you give us some red wine? So I saw this occur month after month, and it went for another year and a half. And the sales of wine, especially red wine, went through the roof in America. And it parallels the showing of the French paradox. And the wine market exploded for red wine in America. And it helped jettison the whole wine industry in America. And I was a beneficiary of that. And the wine market has not really slowed down since then. So remember, 6 to 12 ounces is the recommended dosage that most doctors say. 6 ounces if you're small, I guess, and if your body mass is bigger, 12 ounces, which is 2 glasses. So the wine business was helped by that. So some of the healthful aspects that's been found in these studies that included wine as part of a daily regimen was, as far as cardiac health, cardio disease was reduced by as much as 1/3 to 1/2 with people who drank wine daily. That's sizable. And it seems that it dilates the arteries and it increases blood flow, which limits the risk of clots. And as you know, clots can cause heart disease, blockage, and stroke. And it boosts the level of good cholesterol, HDLs, and apparently it reduces and prevents bad cholesterols, LDLs. And the LDLs do damage to the linings of the arteries, which can become clogged and cause heart disease and stroke. Also, alcohol in the wine helps control blood sugar, and diabetics find it helpful that it really regulates the glucose level. There's an element, especially in red wine, from the tannins, and it's called resveratrol. It's present in the grape skins, and it helps lower glucose levels, and it reduces the risk of certain types of cancer, like basal cell, colon, prostate, etc., etc. Antioxidants, many are present in wines also, and they are discovering every year new trace elements, trace minerals in wine that are healthy. And one of the key things that resveratrol does, it inhibits the growth of plaque in the brain tissues, and that'll help keep your memory sharp and hopefully reduce the incidence of dementia. And as far as wine, I always say that wine should be served with food. And when you serve wine with food, it helps break down protein, the alcohol in the wine. And what that does too is when you drink the alcohol, it's absorbed by the food, but it also slows down the metabolization of the alcohol in your system. So you can drink a little more without feeling it when you eat food. When you're on an empty stomach, alcohol diffuses very quickly through membrane walls. And that's why if you ever see people who drink a glass or two of champagne, boom, it hits you. Because alcohol is assimilated through membranes very, very quickly first. It'll push alcohol ahead of everything else in your body to be digested. So that's very formidable of what I've said already, but it also helps your digestion too, as far as the antibacterial properties and antiseptic qualities in wine, that it stops stomach irritation also. And alcohol in wine, as I said, is antibacterial, and all of these factors just add up. So I was watching a interview by Dan Rather on one of Mark Cuban's channels, Access TV, which is generally a music channel, and they had a story on Rod Stewart, famous rock star back in the 70s and the 80s. Rod Stewart is now 77, and he looks marvelous. He looks tremendous. He doesn't look a day over 60. So Dan Rather, and if you don't remember Dan Rather is in the Hall of Fame of news broadcasters. Him and Richard Nixon used to go at each other's neck during Watergate. So he's interviewing Rod Stewart, and Rod Stewart, he asked Rod Stewart, Dan Rather says, "Why do you look so great?" And he says, "Well, I eat carefully. I also have my blood tested 4 times a year. And I make sure nothing's coming up around the corner. If there's anything, I get it right away. But also, every day, I drink 3 big glasses of wine with my dinner at night. And I really think that helps me. I really think it's good for me." And coming from Rod Stewart's mouth, he looks tremendous. And Rod Stewart and I have something in common. We like our bottle of wine at night, and we don't look too bad, either one of us. So I'm going to remind you, recommended 6 to 12 ounces. And don't do what I do or what Rod Stewart does. Make sure you talk to your doctor. Stay within that 6 ounce to 12 ounce range. But always, when you're introducing it into your diet, check with your doctor first and enjoy. And when they say to your health, there may be something behind that when you drink the wine. Enjoy.